Hi, Andy XL back again, NFXL podcasting. Week 9 of the NFL is on us. I've already got the first game right, but this is part 2 of my week 9 preview, looking at the early slot on Sunday. And that starts with the Chicago Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams badly need a bounce back win here. The Bears lie 8th in the NFC standings, the Bengals are 10th in the AFC, and more relevantly for them, lie a game back of the Steelers in the AFC North. And with the Ravens having already won on Thursday night, the Bengals need a win here to stay ahead of them in their division. For the Bears, they're chasing a lot of quality teams in the NFC wildcard race, so cannot afford to lose games like this one. Surprisingly, the Bears rank higher for run offense than pass offense, 10th for rush and 16th for pass. But the defense gives up yardage on the ground and touchdowns through the air. But with both DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson out for this game, rookie Kyle Monangai will have to carry the load rush-wise on offense for the Bears. The Bengals' offensive stats have been distorted by a range of quarterback play, but they do not run the ball well and also have a defense that has been really bad this season again. With Joe Flacco looking okay to start this game, that's good news for Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins, who will need to carry them if they are to get a badly needed win here. I say that because given the parlour state of the Bengals D, the Bears, who have scored 24 or more in 5 of their 7 games this season, would expect to do so again and some in this game. The Bengals have allowed more fantasy points to opposing running backs than any other team. So again, that's good news for Monangai, as they have to opposing tight ends. They're actually better against opposing wide receivers than the Bears have been, though. With Flacco starting, Chase and Higgins could have big games. As I say, Carl Monangai and Colston Loveland could be the offensive stars for the Bears. This will be close, but I'm going to take the Bears to win it by 20. The Bears to win it by 30 points to 24. On to the Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. The Vikings somehow need to find a way to win in Detroit to stay in touch in the NFC wildcard race. The Lions need to win this to keep pace with the Packers in their division and in the race for top seeding in the NFC. The Lions' offense is still one of the very best in the league for both pass and rush. Their defensive Achilles heel is against the pass. If the opposing quarterback is given time, that is. The Vikings quarterbacks have been sacked 28 times in 7 games. The Lions have 23 sacks in 7 games. JJ McCarthy, welcome back. And the Vikings are ranked outside the top 20 for offense and defense overall, but are decent defending the pass. All of which points to a dominant Lions win as Jahmyr Gibbs, who had 330 yards and 6 touchdowns in the 2 games between these 2 teams last season, comes out to play again, whilst Justin Jefferson may still have some joy against the Lions secondary. But I'll take the Lions to win this by 34 points to 20, so a pretty closey win for them. Carolina Panthers at Green Bay Packers. Having completely flunked their test against the Bills last week, here comes another stern test for the Panthers. But they need a win here to keep in what is a really keenly contested NFC wildcard race. The Packers need to win this for similar reasons as the Lions need to win this week. The Packers' defense is strong against the run, but does allow yardage on the ground, just not touchdowns. And they're good against the pass too, especially in terms of pass rushing. 21 sacks this season, 14 of them coming from Rashan Gary and Micah Parsons. Offensively, their ground game ranks 4th in the league and they're mid-rank for pass offense too. So they're a good all-round team, the Packers. Panthers' run offense continues to pile up the yardage, but has not been great at getting into the end zone. Their pass offense ranks 24th in the league, so scoring touchdowns may well be a problem against this good Packers D. After Andy Dalton turned the ball over 3 times against the Bills, the Panthers will be happy to have Bryce Young back for this game, though, and he may well need to find targets in the end zone if the Panthers are to compete with the Packers at Lambeau. Both the Panthers' run game and pass protection could struggle as they have a number of injuries on their O-line for this game. But with the Packers being the toughest team on opposing running backs in fantasy terms and having such a good pass rush, scoring for the Panthers looks likely to be really tough here. Tight ends have done well against both teams, but Tucker Kraft has more touchdowns, 6, which is twice as many as the Panthers tight ends put together. So another clear edge for the Packers there. But don't look for too much joy from the Packers wide receivers, as the Panthers have been fifth stingiest against them this season. This should all mean the Packers win this one with something to spare, and Tucker Kraft may be the star of this particular show. Packers to win by 27-16 is my prediction. Los Angeles Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers need to avoid slipping on a Titans banana skin here to maintain their AFC West title challenge and to stay ahead in the AFC wildcard race at the same time. The Titans have just the proverbial pride to play for. The Chargers are top 5 in the league for pass offense and defense, but 20th for both rush offense and defense. The Titans only have bottom of the league in all areas except pass defense, which they are mid-ranked for. So unsurprisingly, the Chargers are better at everything than the Titans and will win this one easily. And one particular area of dominance will be the Chargers pass rush versus the Titans O-line. The Chargers have 22 sacks this season as Cam Ward has been sacked a leading 34 times, if leading is the right word. But this may actually be a game the Chargers have plenty of joy running the ball in, taking the onus off Justin Herbert to be as excellent as he has been in recent weeks. So look for Kimani Vidal in the continued absence of Omarion Hampton to be a good fantasy pick here, as does the Chargers D as they run away with a win here, literally. Without Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key and Xavier Woods, the Titans D is going to really struggle in this game. So this could be the widest margin win of the week for the Chargers. And I'm going to have them to hammer the Titans by 34 points to 13. On to the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. And the Falcons face nearly as tough a task as the equally win-needy Vikings as they travel to Foxborough. A loss for them would leave them really needing to fly in the second half of the season to be playing beyond Week 18. The Pats need the win to keep ahead of the Bills and well on course for the postseason. The Patriots have quickly developed into a good all-round team that is mid-ranked for better for pass and rush offense and defense, but their offensive strength is the Drake May-inspired pass game, which they are ranked 8th for, and their run defense, which they are ranked 2nd in the league for this season. And that run defense will be enough a tough matchup for Bijan Robinson, who is the reason the Falcons have the 11th ranked rush offense. Their pass defense is the best in the league in terms of yardage conceded, but 14th for touchdowns conceded. Keys to this game then should be how the Pats limit Bijan Robinson and how the Falcons' pass defense can do likewise to Drake May, especially in the red zone. The Falcons need their pass rush to thrive in order for their pass defense to win that battle, and the Pats' O-line is a definite area of concern for them. So the Falcons' pass rush has to win that battle for the Falcons to have a chance of winning here. Some good news for them fantasy-wise is that they have been the toughest team for opposing tight ends to face, which could be bad news for the likes of Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, whereas the Pats have been the 4th best team for tight ends to come up against. Good news for Kyle Pitts then. Receiving backs have some joy yardage-wise against the Pats, so Robinson might do well in that guard. And with Michael Penix and Drake London back for this game, the Falcons' offense should be able to put last week's horror show behind them. Despite all that optimistic talk, the Pats are a good team that will take a very good performance to beat. With Ramondre Stevenson out, Tre'Von Henderson may need to step up for them to make this a win for them, though. And there's just trying to remember his name, Terrell Jennings could be a name to come out of the ether as a potential power back replacement for Ramondre Stevenson here. So look for those two to do work on the ground here for the Patriots. I can see the way the Falcons win this game matchup-wise. So I don't see it as an easy win for the Patriots. But for the Patriots to do so, Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts will need to get in the end zone. And they only have 5 touchdowns between them this season. So that potential lack of red zone efficiency could ultimately cost them here against a tough Pats D. So I'll take the Patriots to edge home here, and it will be close, I think, 23-20. Right, on to the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco Giants is going back in time. San Francisco 49ers at the New York Giants. Two teams whose season have been injured by significant injuries clash here. The game will not make any difference for the Giants apart from draft position, but the 49ers need a win badly to stay on the tails of the NFC West leaders and ahead in the NFC wildcard race. Offensively, the Giants have lent on their run game this season, and with Cam Scatterbo now out for the season, that will be difficult to do here. So over to you, Jackson Dart. Whilst Dart has changed the feel around this team, his stats are actually not much better than those of Russell Wilson. They're better, but not hugely better. The 49ers' injuries are much wider and deeper than the higher profile losses of the Giants. Their O&D lines are depleted and will be again this week, and they are also going to be without quarterback Brock Purdy and almost certainly Ricky Pearsall at wide receiver this week again. The Giants have been poor against the run though, so this may have to be another CMC masterclass for the 49ers to overcome all their health issues. And the Giants have conceded more yardage to wide receivers than any other team in the league this season. And they have a beaten up secondary here as well, which could be key. Without Scatterbo, the Giants will look to Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary to get in the end zone. They have 11 rushing touchdowns and 12 receiving touchdowns this season, so are more reliant than most on getting it in on the ground. The Giants' pass rush could do well against a depleted 49ers O-line though. But once I look at everything, I think this could be Christian McCaffrey, Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne might be the names to stick out fantasy-wise, as I think due to the Giants' beaten up secondary, which is pretty much as beaten up as the 49ers wide receiver core, I see the 49ers edging home in this one by 23-20. In a busy early window, let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will the so far superb Colts get win number 8 to get them within touching distance of the postseason football, or will the Steelers get a win to ensure they stay top of the AFC North? A loss for the Colts will not be highly damaging, but it could well be for the Steelers, as it allows the Ravens to get even closer to them following their Thursday night football win. The Colts are a team with few weaknesses, but do have a ball-hawking secondary that needs their pass rush to help them out to be good. They're ranked 25th against the pass overall, but they're third in the league for picks, and they have 23 sacks to their name. So that tells you how they try to get pressure on the quarterback to basically get their secondary off the hook. Their run defense is 5th ranked in the league too. Offensively, they have the magnificent Jonathan Taylor, and his excellence has helped their pass game to thrive too, as teams have to put more emphasis on trying to contain Taylor on the ground. So Aaron Rodgers will need to do his normal act of getting the ball out quickly to negate the Colts' pass rush and be highly accurate in doing so, as the Steelers' run game is not likely to do much to help him here. Long and short of this one is the Colts will likely pile up the points again this week, so Rodgers and his receivers need to excel here for them to take down the best team in the league right now. Some good news for Pitt on that front is how well opposing tight ends have done against the Colts this season, 3rd best in the league, so the Steelers' array of tight ends could go well here. But so might Tyler Warren for the Colts, as the Steelers are the 2nd best team for opposing tight ends to come up against this season. DK Metcalf could be another wide receiver to have a good game against the Colts this season. There's been a few that have, and he could be another one. So I see the Steelers as a team that can definitely score against the Colts, but can they score enough to get the win? To do so, they have to find a way to slow Jonathan Taylor down. 96 yards and no score being his season low against the Rams in Week 4, the only game the Colts lost. If the Steelers can keep him out of the end zone and under 100 scrimmage yards, they can win this, but I doubt they will. Fantasy picks wise, plenty of them here. Jonathan Taylor, obviously, Tyler Warren, and the Colts kicker, Michael the Money Badger Badgley, love the nickname Money Badger, and DK Metcalf for the Steelers. But I think the Colts get win number 8 here by 30 points to 24. And the final game in the early window that I'm looking at, Denver Broncos at the Houston Texans. Two teams meet coming off fine Week 8 wins, but both who have questions to answer in terms of how significant a challenge they can mount this season. Whoever wins here will provide some positive answers, whereas the questions will continue to be asked about the loser. For the Broncos, Winning keeps them top of the tough AFC West. The loss probably cost them the lead of that division. The Texans' need is more pressing, though, as they come into this ninth in the AFC standings and a distance away from the Colts in their division. The Broncos are, for me, the AFC version of the Packers. Solid all round, really good on D, but when it comes to the postseason, do they have the elite offensive talent to beat the best? And here they will come up against a really good defense of the Texans, whose only chink in their armour is that they rank 14th for rushing touchdowns allowed. For the Broncos, then, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey may need to get into the end zone multiple times, whilst the Broncos secondary without Patrick Surtain needs to keep the Texans' talented young wide receivers on scoring, as the Texans have just 3 rushing touchdowns this season, so through the air seems a more likely way for them to score. The Broncos have only allowed 2 receiving touchdowns to opposing wide receivers this season, though, but can they keep up that record without the superb Surtain? I see this as a close, lowest scoring game where turnovers could be key. Both quarterbacks have thrown 5 picks this season, and Nix also has 2 fumbles to his name. I have expressed doubts about Nix's performance and lack of consistency before, and I can see him making errors against the Texans D that proved costly. Fancy-wise, difficult to choose which Texans wide receiver or which Broncos running back will go well, but the Texans D could be a decent pick this week. So I'm going to take the Texans to beat the Broncos by 20 points to 17. And that's part 2 of this week 9 preview done and dusted. Part 3 will come back and look at the Sunday late window. So this is going out on a Saturday night because I've had a look at the injury news and I want to get it done and dusted. Sometime tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon, I'll come out with the part 3 before we get underway in the earlier slot. So look for that. See you soon.